All right. Well, I'm sitting here with my brother Cameron, and we're just going to continue our conversation that is leading us further in the direction of enlightenment and the path that we know and feel we're destined to be, our purpose in life. And I think we've both come to a place where we're more understanding, and as we continue to learn through our lives of what our purpose is and the meaning of it's being more revealed to us how to live in that way.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
difficult to live. Right now with all the negative energies, I would have to say pressuring to everyone, including myself's consciousness and my conscious day to day. And what can I say? I'm unconsciously taking notice and letting these negative thoughts enter my brain, and it's stopping me from enlightenment. Well, it's not stopping me from achieving, or it's preventing me from achieving where I've already been before.
This is like hypothetical speaking, but hey, like if you were to employ that mode of thought.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You're not actually doing that.
I'm not actually doing it because I've employed certain trains of thoughts before and certain practices without much guidance has ended up in failure and a negative attention, really, from I'm not too sure what.
Well, ultimately, like something I've had to, it's not many people seem to be able to get to taking responsibility for every experience that they have actually, when you realize you have created in your whole life. But that's what about last night when I was saying, so as a child, we're not necessarily responsible for the conditioning we receive through what the adults portray onto us in our experiences as children, that we're not necessarily, we're subjected to. I'm not saying it's all bad. There's beautiful. It's the way the way we were taught from those adults in our lives as children.
No one that's been through some sort of traumatic memory wants to think that they have created everything that has happened to them.
That's correct. But there comes a point where it's acceptable, and it's necessary to accept that responsibility for. And as an adult, coming to the responsibility that yes, we are conscious and we consciously create our own reality. That's actually empowering yourself, because taking responsibility through your free will that we are all given as human beings is to empower yourself to not be limited or trapped in believing that you're not, that fate and death and the fate of things controls our destiny, when we actually can step in and we control our destiny, because we are aspects of the divine. We are divine essence, or I like to call it divine vessels of embodiment of
the power of conscious thought or unconscious thought.
Just
our being, really.
That's right.
Because all of us being are very powerful. It's coming to a head, obviously.
Yeah, well, I've sort of been looking into a lot of just energy dynamics and things like that, and throughout the universe or the multiverse, there's different dimensions and layers to it. But the universe is like that's everything in one. It's like there's the multi-dimensional, I guess, nature and aspects of the universe, but it's all one essentially, because there can only be one. It's unified. Like if it was to be symbolized, I would put it as a circle. Because it's a whole. It's a whole, right. Holistic. That's the universe, and
don't be afraid to make mistakes, because do you know the most enlightened people, or the most people that have achieved any sort of progress, I'd say in one lifetime, have made a lot of mistakes. Weren't born with I'm not too sure if they were born with the feeling of that they're gonna be something or be someone, but they obviously developed that over time through failure and the will to change and that obviously that sense that you get.
Yeah, and I just want to like let you guys, you know, Cameron and I have just recently become mates and just recently even, you know, started hanging out. But what I want to say is that this fella, this man, he's 19, and the wisdom he's accrued and the hardships he's experienced in his life is fucking, you know, most people wouldn't be able to believe it or fathom it or even understand, empathize as much as we, you know, like.
Basically,
but to just let me keep going for a little bit. Let me just blow you up a tiny bit more, bro. But I'm, you know.
Yeah,
I know it.
Not for it.
Here we go. So, just for this young man who, as a fellow young man, I recognise and I see him overcoming all these obstacles and the hardships and some of the hardest things people can go through as a human being, and to overcome that and to be where he's at, it's fucking absolutely inspirational. And I think it's very important and this young man he will do a lot of wonderful things in this life, and I want this message to be heard and put out there because he deserves his story to be told.
And even with my story, I don't have many days where I see myself as like a victim of my life. You know, I realised that there wasn't much control. You know, and I know a lot of people, you know, how they try to tell you if you're not going to be sad, you're not going to feel any sort of. The way that you get caught is focusing on things that you can't control. You know. I had so much things happen in my life that I'm not too sure why, or the reasons why, obviously, and I don't know if I manifested them myself, but through my people around me, I definitely think something was going on and I couldn't escape, because with my own personal consciousness, like the way I wasn't aware of what was going on in general ever since I was young. I never knew that there was an out or a difference or something different to life, you know, so I can't really sit there and say, it was really difficult, because for me that's all I've ever known. And you know, and going through these tough experiences and any type of experience, it just I don't know, I wouldn't say it takes over my mind, and that's where I'm.
Would you say that going through and experiencing all of that suffering, because essentially you were suffering in certain
a lot of suffering.
There was a lot of suffering.
I've had to internalize
that. And you felt that, and you know what it felt like, and so therefore you wanted to relieve the suffering and not want anyone else to have to go through that suffering.
That's what I was just about to get at, yeah.
That's the essence that's the essential.
I literally pushed aside any sort of individual want or want of anyone to look after me, and I straight away wanted to look after others, because I just wanted to bring anyone at a level where they can, you know, have the ability to do whatever they want, to be whoever they want.
To empower and uplift others.
I was sick of seeing people trapped in something that they trapped in a life they didn't even know they were trapped. You know what I mean? Because that is their life and that is who they are completely. So it's always been hard with me, also with the give and receive. We were talking about this earlier on today, how like there's givers and there's takers, and you know, where I think we're put here to give, man, to give unconditionally, and to give without any sort of...
through true giving, we receive. Yeah. And that's that most people are unaware of the, what would I say? The essence of the principle of generosity. And the principle of generosity is like this. It goes, so when we give with the intention of, you know, not expecting in return, or just, but the intention is pure and of a loving nature, of a loving intention to give, to help. Hang on. Currently making podcast in here. Come back. Sorry, that was an interruption in the podcast. This will be edited. No, I'm just kidding. It won't be because it's a whole recording, but who cares? So that's like the principle of generosity is in giving, we receive, whether that comes in the form of, material. Hold up, I'm trying to make a podcast. Things need to be said and heard and put out into the universe. Yeah, we'll go out and make it out there. Anyway, Sorry, sorry, fans, and no, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. That's a G up, fans. But yeah, nah. So back to here we go. Take 3 of
Take
the
3
principle
of
of
the-
generosity.
Yeah, the principle of generosity.
Yeah. So in giving we receive, and whether that receiving comes in the pure giving, that's the key.
That is
With
the
the
key,
right
yeah.
cultivated right intention of giving, we receive in some way, shape, or form of energy. Essentially, we are in an energetic universe. We are energetic beings, and we will receive energetically in some way, shape, or form back what we give out, because
Yep.
what goes out as within, so without. What goes out must come back. You know,
Law of attraction.
the frequency we vibrate at and energetically emanate at or resonate at is what we. But it's what manifests and shows up in our
I'm
reality.
for, the more people that want good for you too. Yeah, I know, and as unfortunate as it sounds, the more people that are on your side or your team or your conscious level of making you go further in life, and their wants too can help you so much. So why not give? Even though that could be giving with an intention of, I'm going to get some energy off this. I've went to the point where I give, and that's just the end of the story. There is no end, because there will never be an end. I'll be giving until probably the day I die.
But I'm sure you've felt and I think that's going to be the title of this podcast is why not give? I think that's a great question. Why not give?
Exactly right.
How is it
stopping people
being anything detrimental to, or not beneficial by giving? What is there any way of you not?
And this is obviously how you identify people that are probably in need of some sort of spiritual guidance, because they will be probably the takers in some sense. They will be the ones that come, and they all they really want is to take maybe the answers. Maybe they're just trying to find some sort. They're just always going to take that energy because we're there. I mean, would never let it get you. Never. It's not. That's literally a normal thing. You will be paired with people that are going to take and take and take. And if you let that get to you, and if you start thinking about what you've given and that type of stuff, it's all going to fail. It's just going to come to a head. You're losing the path. You know what I mean? And it's just like it's going to accompany you. It's just like a wave, like a frequency. With every good, there's bad.
Yeah.
Yin and yang.
Duality.
It's just how you deal with it. It's just how you decide to deal with it.
Just like in terms of what we were going on about there, like in terms of from a cultural point of view, in terms of our society and civilization on a mass global collective scale as it is right now, especially in terms of like social media and pretty much all
that type of stuff.
Most people have a phone or access to the internet, and majority of people in the world now have a social media account.
Mm-hmm.
That is, what will I say? There's a few things that I want to go on about that, but in terms of
very dangerous. That's what I see.
It's supposedly connecting us through social media, but you're actually downgrading. You're disconnecting from reality. You're transgressing, diverging from three-dimensional reality, what we see around us. We live in a three-dimensional realm. You're going down back to a two-dimensional realm, which is the phone. It's 2D, flat. It's a screen, and you're staring at a screen and thinking that's being social. No, it's not actually. It's actually being antisocial, and through projecting the fake persona or the facade that a lot of people project. They want to show as their best ideal version of who they think.
And it makes them, what is it? Not happy with themselves, I'd say. Maybe they can't love themselves because you see people only posting these certain moments. They wouldn't post half the stuff on their camera roll, and that's not
think about the psychology of why people have to put on a facade, man.
Yeah, it's all about acceptance, and all goes around acceptance. But if there's no community of acceptance, say, like back a couple generations ago, you'd be in a village, no matter how you were, or what situation it was in, you'd be accepted, On social media, you can not be accepted. Say if you do something out of the norm by not posting all these only the best moments of yourself, and you try to be some sort of normal, and you just want to post every moment of yourself, and it's just who you are. And these people knock you down because it's not like what everyone else is doing, you know. And that's where the acceptance isn't there, and that's got to be damaging, you know. And it's and without that self-love and all that type, you really need that. It's a tool that you need to love yourself.
100%, bro.
Because then you'll be looking for other people's love to just feel whole. And
that's it.
You should always feel whole, you know. You
prioritize your love, and that's not in any way selfish. That is not to prioritize yourself and cultivating your energy in the right way, that it can then be most beneficial to the people you interact with.
Yeah, that's right.
Have experience
most people,
with.
You won't.
That's
you'll
not
never
selfish.
feel like
that's
you're going to be
selfless.
selfish anyway. Yeah, because I don't think the opportunities arrive for people that are like aware of what's going on or aware of these energies and the way that the world's working at the moment. I don't think there's any real selfishness comes to mind. I never really think of times, like I don't think about being selfish at all ever.
No.
Like it doesn't come to my mind. I don't know. When I see someone, I just want to speak with them, you know what I mean, or see what's wrong and help in any way possible. It's not even like, that's more ingrained. It's like not a conscious thought. That's why to say it now out loud is weird, because this isn't conscious thing. These aren't things that.
I'll quickly interrupt. So the truth I've noticed is felt, not intellectually. We don't intellectualize or come to a intellectual, conclusive, thought-based solution of what is true, and we feel it. We actually feel the truth, because think about this: language was invented as it was a human invention. Started off from symbols like cave rock paintings, and that was simply someone who was trying to convey a message. They may have had for example, these ascended masters who, throughout the different religions of time, Buddha, Jesus, all these people, right? Let's just, whether you want to believe in that or not, it doesn't matter. Let's just think about it as a
It's a good example, or a good point of reference to go from for someone that has reached a certain level.
My vocabulary is currently
affected,
not working in its optimal
mode. Even with Jesus, we say his angels, they come down, they go through the worst. You know, Jesus come down, he got battered. His whole life was just constant non-accept. No one wanted him. No one accepted him. Yeah. You know, but he was aware of all this. Like, he really knew that he was there to save as many as he could from that.
To relieve them of their suffering through the message he was wanting to convey, because he knew that if they were to live in the alignment with the principles and values and ethical and moral modes of living that he knew was the truth, because he embodied the truth and the love and light, which is the truest self, the highest self, enlightened. Enlightenment is no different to Christ consciousness. He literally had another mode of, that was named because he lived that truth. And so what I was getting at with the language, it started off with symbols. So for example, a caveman wanted to he was a very helpful and selfless and giving and generous caveman, and he wanted for the next generation of cavemen to be able to understand how to catch a fish. And so he drew on the rock wall. He etched into that stone with his stick, his big stick thing that he drew into the cave walls with, and he conveyed a message through symbol. This is how to catch a fish. And that was how we first started communicating to each other. And language was then formed through these symbols. Think about the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. These are all symbols. And then when put together, they form a word. And, through understanding and deepening our vocabulary and also being able to convey the message of what we have to express, what truth we have to impart onto others, we're able to articulate and delve into the words and access the words that have the most meaning and can be understood most easy. most easiest to those who we're trying to convey the message to. That's why Albert Einstein said, if you don't know it, if you can't teach it to a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old, whatever, a young toddler, then you don't know it well enough. If you think you know something, super well, you're a genius, you're a neuroscientist, astrophysicist, neuro-linguistic legend of all time, and you can't convey your message to a 5-year-old to understand, then you've still got some learning to do, and you shouldn't become limited in your belief that you know everything about that concept, because there's always depths and levels to conceptual knowledge. And see, that's why we can get lost in this rationalization, intellectualization of trying to come to truth in our mind. And that's why the truth is felt in our body. We feel it, feel the truth. We don't intellectualize or rationalize it. So that's it for today. Hope you guys liked what Cameron had to say, because he's a fucking young man with purpose, living it too, living his truth, living his light. May you all have that too. Goodbye.